Hi, my name is Keita Ahmed. I'm an rptv reporter. The Regent Park Social Development Plan, also known as the SDP, is a community-wide initiative aimed at fostering unity and togetherness among all the different residents and stakeholder groups in the community. The Social Development Plan is built around 4 areas of priorities of the SDP. Each priority area is represented by a different committee. The SDP committees are safety, communications, employment and economic development, and community building. The goal of the community building working table of the SDP is to create and organize equitable space, events, and groups that bring residents together, build bridges, particularly between market and TCH residents. In this month's meeting, the group discussed about the Sunday in the Park event and the Peace Garden. A survey about the workings of the community building working group was also conducted by Ismail Mohammed from the Planning and Evaluations Committee of the Regent Park SDP. Let's go and watch this month's meeting.
Welcome to our meeting, folks. My name is Walied. I'm Khogali Ali. I'm one of the resident co-chairs. Okay, so our next item is the Filipino group presentation by Mary Ann Kalang. Joel, is Mary Ann going to join us today?
Oh, I thought she was. I don't see her here. Shoot, I didn't. I followed up with her a few days ago, but I didn't see anything since then. Shoot. Well, I think we'll have to do it another time. Waleed, can you let me share screen, please?
Sure. I know she had an event recently, right? So
yeah, she had an event on Saturday.
Yeah, I recall that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
The Filipino event was wonderful.
Were you there, Sarah Jane?
That's the colorful costumes. I loved it. And of course, Chris Moisey was there dancing the whatever they call it. He was at the beginning, and Wong Tan was there. And somebody made a lot of speeches for Filipino independence. But anyway, it was so colorful with all the costumes and bamboo and everything. I really enjoyed it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that summary, Sarah Jane. Really appreciate it. I think we're going to move on now to the next part related to Sunday in the Park. I don't see Leah here. So maybe what we'll do is we'll defer that item. Let me see if Leah got the message. But I can provide a quick update, actually. And Tohida, you are planning meetings as well, so please feel free to jump in. Joel, you as well. So we do have a coordinator, my friends. His name is Samir, and he is going to be supporting Sunday in the Park. Samir is wonderful, and we've actually had our first fundraising meeting, Tohida, on Monday, right? And he's now working on the partnership package that's going to be sent out to our donors. And then we also have a planning committee that is going to be meeting tomorrow. And if you want details of that meeting, please let me know. But everyone who's shown interest in the planning committee has been invited to those meetings. Okay, so that's Sunday in the Park in a summary. Does anyone have any questions related to Sunday in the Park before we move on? And we're moving through our agenda very quickly, actually, 6:30. So just in case anyone has any questions.
Not question. Well, we can just mention that, the call for vendors, it has already been, I think, promoted. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are Angie, who is amazing and a member of our planning committee, is already reaching out to potential vendors, just like last year. Okay. Thank you, Tohida. Anyone else has any questions? Okay, the next item is for information. It's related to the Peace Garden. So we're going to reach out to our friends at Fred Victor, who are responsible for the Peace Garden, which was a monument, to honor the sacrifices made by mothers in our community, many of them who've lost their children to senseless gun violence. So we're hoping to support the basically request of our amazing one of the Dreamer members who's been maintaining the garden and needs support with regards to funding the maintenance of the garden. So I'm going to be working closely with Joel. Joel, let me know if you have any questions related to that. But I hope to work with you to support our dreamers and honor the sacrifices of mothers in our community who have been directly impacted by gun violence. Anyone have any questions related to that?
Just as I'm taking note, can you just explain about the garden you mentioned?
Yeah, the Peace Garden was, put in place during the first phases of revitalization of Regent Park. So it's hosted by Fred Victor at the Christian Resource Center, the CRC, and there's a beautiful garden. I don't know how many folks have actually seen the Peace Garden. I'll ask that question.
The Peace
Yes,
Garden.
Michael and I meet up there all the time. Joel, I think, put his hands up. Anyone else? Ishmael, have you seen it? Sarah Jane, Amal?
No, I haven't seen it, no.
Neither have I.
You folks need to come to 40 Oak Street and check out the garden.
I've seen the garden. It's beautiful. I've seen the Peace Garden.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
So please come to 40 Oak Street and check it out. We might want to do an in-person meeting someday at the Peace Garden intentionally, so that we could highlight that important moment in Regent Park's history, where this Peace Garden was made happen. So there's an amazing history, and maybe we'll do a presentation there. Okay. So we're now going to move on to the next item, and I'm going to pass it on to Ishmael Mohammed. It's related to evaluation. Ishmael, take it away.
Thank you, Waleed. Just in regards to the Peace Garden, I want to redact my statement. My first meeting with you, Waleed, was actually at the Peace Garden about 2 years ago.
Of course. I was wondering. It's like my friend forgot about that. It's okay. They have. I'm glad you remembered. That's awesome.
Sorry, I just had to confirm with Joe where the Peace Garden was. He told me that it was actually in front of the CRC building. So yes, I've definitely been there. Now, in regards to evaluation, so what I will do over here on the laptop that we're sharing, I'll click this link so that everyone's able to. Oh, does not want to let us open. Oh, here we go. One second, folks. You want to share on yours? Do I have the ability to share? I think this is good enough. Okay, good. All right, everyone. So I know some of you are very familiar with the evaluations that are taking place, but for those of us who aren't, the Evaluations and Benchmarks Committee has been working since the beginning of the year, actually, to put together a piece about evaluations. And one of the outcomes of that is actually this common question survey, which you see in front of you. So for anyone who has their mobile devices handy with them, if you could please scan the QR code and fill out this survey. For those of us here in person, I did bring some physical copies, and I will be following up on this through an email. So I request that everyone fill out this survey to share their opinions, their insights, and their feedback in regards to the work and the SCP overall. So please fill out the survey so we get your input, and we will be taking this input, developing a report to report back to the SCP as a whole, hopefully at the report back next year. That is our plan. If not earlier than that, we will have the report ready for everyone. Any questions in regards to that before I pass it back to Walied?
How long does it take to fill out the survey, Ishmael? Maybe we can just spend some time to make sure that folks fill it right now, so that you can have, some feedback right away. I just want to ask how long it will take.
I would appreciate that. It should take about 10 minutes to complete the survey.
Okay, folks, we're going to fill out the survey. Do you mind sharing the link on the chat, Ishmael, for those who can't scan the QR code?
Sure.
And maybe what we'll do is we'll ask folks in the meeting in person who are comfortable to fill it out over paper copy. So why don't we take the next 10 minutes to do that, and then we'll reconvene to the next item. Okay? And
Sounds great.
please share the link on the chat. And Tohida, Amal, Sarah Jane, Miguel, please fill out the form. I don't know who's the other Regent Park on this and the other phone number, but please fill out the survey, okay?
I just wanted to also add that this survey will be done for each of the working groups. We're asking that everyone completes a survey for each of the working groups and the committees that you are part of. But if you're unable to do that, then at least just do it once.
Okay, so just share the link on the chat if you can to the direct survey.
Yes, doing that right now.
Thank you. Okay, we're back, folks. I just want to thank you all for filling out this survey. Please, if you have any questions, send them to Ishmael. Ishmael, will it be helpful if we send out this survey link to the rest of the community building working group by email?
That's a great idea, Walied. I actually plan on sending it out to the rest of the working group through email after this meeting.
Perfect. So when you do that, we'll forward it via email. Joel, maybe we can do that in advance of our next meeting, just as a standalone email, not the agenda, just please fill out the survey, and Ishmael will put your contact information just in case folks have questions, okay?
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna pass it on to Joel. Joel, you have the floor. Please take it away with regards to the proposal.
So folks, we've had some discussions. I believe it was in our last meeting or the one before about marking Pride Month. We've also marked Black History Month on pretty short notice this year. And we know that there's some interest in marking various, whether it's events or issues around cultural awareness and equity awareness. So I was talking with Walied and with Amal and Varda from the Anti-Racist Action Plan, and we came up with an idea of a way to sort of have a sort of a regular structure, so we can, when people want to, or as people want to, we can mark these things and plan for them. And we thought we could sort of put them together in a, like, not in any tight way, but just to understand that as we're marking all these different events, that there's a sort of a thing that holds them together, and that people were sort of learning about each other, and so to have a kind of an approach of wanting to learn, approach of curiosity, and raising awareness as we learn about the issues that are associated with them, or learn about just different groups in the community. So we thought we'd put that before the group. I've got a little bit more to say about it, but one of the sort of key parts of it, we thought, was an idea of kind understanding that there's a lot of stuff we don't know. One way to talk about that is cultural humility, which is basically, there's a lot of stuff out there that we maybe don't understand, and if we understood it better, we could sort of engage with it from more knowledge. And this was something that I don't know, Amal, would you be willing to speak a little bit more about that idea?
Yeah, I wish my colleague Varda was here because she is better versed on cultural humility. But I think one of the ideas was for those who are leading this awareness and education initiative, particularly around, I don't know, like if you mark off on a calendar like Black History Month, Pride Month, there's Disability Month, there's Truth and Reconciliation. There's so many various cultural awareness initiatives that exist. And when we were speaking on cultural humility, we were thinking more as those who would be participating in the planning and collaboration of creating some of those events or learning sessions, that cultural humility would be the first stepping stone in a sense. And cultural humility is a little bit different than cultural competence. It's more of an internal reflection. And so cultural humility is really around self-reflection, understanding your own cultural worldview, and next to another person's different cultural worldview, and also understanding some of those power imbalances that may exist if you are part of the dominant culture or the dominant worldview. And so it's pretty much like a lifelong process of just learning and unlearning, but a lot of self-reflection is part of that process to understand and learn more than anything, how to ask questions about learning from others or from someone else's different perspective or cultural perspective more specifically, and acknowledging that you may not know, but you're willing to know. And so that's just a simplified understanding around cultural humility, but we were thinking that maybe that could be the first step towards wild community building working group is, identifying awareness initiatives or educations, education sessions in the future, that those who participate, and ideally it'd be resident led, would also partake in learning more about their own worldviews prior to them, doing something for Pride Month, if they're not aware about what that Pride Month means or the history around that, or even the individuals who participate and organize Pride Month. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, so a way of coming at things, not from being very clear that we don't know it all. That there's a lot for us to learn, for everybody to learn, and so that with that kind of sort of coming at it from that direction, we wanted to bring this idea to the group that we could plan to mark different things according to people's interests. Throughout the year, we could set up a calendar in a sense for the whole year, or as people are interested. And we did think that it would be important to have a resident who has interest in this to lead the different pieces, and then of course with support from me, from Walied, from others in the community, but we wanted to put that idea out to the group and see if you would have interest in there being different kinds of events that are associated with these different months or different markings that are happening. It's like that events that would be organized by people from within our group. Any thoughts on that? Is that something that people would be interested in? I know we're a fairly small group this month, and I think we're just going to sort of open the discussion now and connect out to people and see. But for now, those that are here, any thoughts on that?
So to my understanding, Joel, we would like to make a calendar event focusing on cultural, I don't know, cultural diversity or cultural event like Black History Month, Pride Month. Do you want to make a list of, community or cultural events happening within the community? I don't know, actually. I didn't get very clear,
Not to make a list right now necessarily, but just to see if people would be interested in engaging. Like anything that a person says is something that would be important for them. Is something that we could potentially organize around.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question, Tahira?
Yes, but lots of actually when we are thinking about the diversity, cultural diversity in our neighborhood, I don't know actually how we will focus on. Like, for example, Asian Heritage Month. So many of the Asian cultural things are included in that month. Huh? That's a broader spectrum. But I'm not sure how actually we can identify under which umbrella we will put all those, wonderful cultural phenomenon. I'm not sure actually how can we actually accommodate all those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that kind of thing we can sort of figure out as we go along, like depending where the interest is, right? And if somebody wants to mark something that's quite more specific, there's we can do that. I mean, and I suppose if somebody wanted to mark, and did you talk about Asian Heritage Month? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, I was telling about Asian Heritage Month, in May.
Yeah, I hear you. That's so broad, eh? But if there was a group that wanted to do it, I mean, they could do it as long as we could also do things that are more specific.
Yeah.
Can I just add?
We want to follow the energy of the group is what we want to do.
Can I just add a point, Joel?
Please, yeah, I saw your hand there. Sorry, Amal. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. And so I just want to add, it's also more than just, celebrating cultural diversity. I think one of the potential possibilities with this working group is looking at some of the gaps that could exist when it comes to, community belonging or wellness. And so it's not just celebrating the cultural diversity or understanding the various different cultural groups and their perspectives that may exist within Regent Park, but it's also about, looking at some of the issues or challenges that occur within the community too. So maybe doing a learning session or education piece around Islamophobia could be one thing. Another thematic area that can be intersectional is also, how do you discuss when incidents of homophobia occur? And so it's also some of those learning pieces that are very important in order for one to not only celebrate and understand a different culture, but also the diversity within one person themselves, right? And so it's also just learning some of those, having some of that anti-racist practice incorporated within the community building working group to better promote that inclusion and belonging or that sense of belonging to create more of a community wellness, if that makes sense.
It'd be interesting to hear if people think, yeah, this is something I'd like to participate in and lead if you want to lead it. This would be a great way for our group great thing for us to work on. I'll note too that we do have like priorities that that were set out when we began the group, and this definitely fits well within it. There's a lot of stuff in the original action plans about equity awareness and community gatherings around various themes.
I personally support it, and I think we should actually have a meeting with other grassroots organizations and residents that have brought equity campaigns or concerns to the table to start, planning, for 2024. Why don't we spend, this year actually planning and resourcing equity-based campaigns for next year. It's going to be one of our last years for funding for the SDP, and I think we actually should put forward a proposal to resource this work. But yeah, I support it. I think that's a very good way of promoting social inclusion and cohesion. Inclusion in the sense people will know about each other, and I just want to thank Amal for giving us not like an explanation of what that a culturally appropriate approach will look like. But in my opinion, it makes sense because there's a lot of learning and growing and unlearning that will take place.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, actually. So I will be taking off my YSM hat and I'm putting my resident hat right now. As a resident, I do feel like it's important to celebrate the different cultures, which we are currently doing with having different months of awareness of different backgrounds and different heritages. But like Amal suggested, I think it's also important to not ignore the differences and maybe some disagreements or maybe just lack of awareness that people may have regarding specific issues. Islamophobia was one of the ones that Amal had mentioned. And I think that's very important, especially with so many people being, people being new to the city even. They see Regent Park as like their first place that they've lived in the city. And they may not be aware of the issues that may be surrounding our community or even within our community. And I think that would be a perfect way to bring that up and inform people on those matters. So I'm all in. I love the idea, Amal.
Thank you.
There's actually a Toronto Diversity Festival that's happening at Nathan Phillips Square. I'm not sure if folks got that message on WhatsApp, but that's in next month, August 7th to the 8th, which is during the first week of the community building working group. So maybe what we could do is do an event together, like, as community building, head out to that diversity week and look at potential partners and allies. So I just want to put it out there.
So folks, I think we have, I haven't heard a lot of responses. I've heard a few, which is great. I think maybe we have some more work to do on this in terms of just seeking people out and seeing what level of interest there is. I haven't heard anybody say that, yeah, this is great, and I'd like to sort of pick a theme and work on it and lead it. But I think we could easily get there. So let's just say we've had a discussion for now, and we will move on. Let's move on, and we can perhaps if these discussions get a little further along, we could bring it back just as and see where we're at a meeting in the future.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll move on. Thanks a lot,
Are
Joel.
people okay with that? Okay with closing this now and moving on?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. Thank you so much. I'm going to quickly talk about the Regent Park, efforts to make sure that City Council, through its council, approves a rezoning application that meets the needs of Regent Park residents. So I'm not going to spend too much information. I'm not going to share too much information, but what I'll do is let folks know that members of RPNA, the Regent Park Neighborhood Association, deputed at the Toronto and East York Community Council We also wrote a letter to both Councillor Moise and Mayor Olivia Chow. Specifically, this is highlighted in our press release, which was sent out to folks, that we want the creation of more rent geared to income units. We know that there's over 80,000 residents on the waiting list for social housing, including refugees in need of permanent housing. We emphasize the urgent need to address the housing crisis. We expressed to Mayor Olivia Chow that the ongoing redevelopment efforts in Regent Park, particularly, we have concerns regarding the transparency, community input, and prioritization of community interests in the rezoning application. And, we highlighted in our letter some key points, such as protecting social housing. We want to preserve social housing units in Regent Park in perpetuity, ensuring the long-term availability of affordable housing options. We asked for additional income-based affordable housing. We sought the mayor's and council's support in securing subsidies to achieve deeper affordability, including additional rent geared to income for the 637 net new affordable housing units committed as part of phases 4 and 5. And we emphasize the importance of aligning the minimum tenure, which is 99 years, on perpetuity and affordability with the city's income-based definition. We also, highlighted the importance of prioritizing community and public spaces. And in the application, we hope they will address the lack of commitment to community spaces in the current plan. We wanted at least an additional 2,000 square meters of community space in phases 4 and 5. And we also advocated for an association of community centers, so an AOCC, that's the acronym of Association of Community Centers model, so that we can ensure community governance and delivery of social, community, and recreational programs. We also made an important point regarding the implementation of a comprehensive community services and facilities strategy. There was some good work done with the city, but we don't have a strategy. And we emphasize the need for a comprehensive plan that addresses current and future community needs, including essential community amenities, childcare facilities, schools, recreation, and human services. And we also highlighted the gap in childcare spaces. For example, the inclusion of at least 62 childcare units to accommodate future growth. That's in summary of the issues that are before council with regards to the rezoning application. Does anyone have any questions? I see none. So this matter is going to be addressed at City Council over the next 2 days, and hopefully we're going to be raising awareness over the next 2 days to make sure that those amendments are made. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next item. Is that okay with everyone? Yes? Okay. So the next item relates to collaboration with Lord Dufferin and Nelson Mandela Public Schools. So I think it's important for us to connect with families in Regent Park as part of our community building efforts. And there's no better way than to collaborate with both public schools in our neighborhood. And what I'm proposing is we invite the principals to share their plans related to how the schools will be doing some community engagement and see how we could collaborate on that. Does anyone have any questions? In person, any questions related with collaboration? Hopefully you folks can hear me Because just want to check. Tohida, Amal.
Yes, I hear you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I was worried that I was talking to myself over Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the next item. And basically, my friends, those are all the items for today's meeting. Our next meeting is on, it's the first Tuesday of the month. So that's August 1st, 2023. And I want us to have a conversation on whether we should have a meeting on September 12th in the fall. But this is going to be actually 19 days before our Sunday in the Park meeting. So our upcoming meeting is about 2 to 3 weeks away. So it's fast approaching. Okay. And we're going to be focusing on Sunday in the Park at that meeting. And hopefully in our first September meeting, we'll focus on some other key priorities related to our, the action plan that we've identified, or like the priorities we identified for 2024. Does anyone have any suggestions about the September meeting? Do you want to do September 12th? Yep.
I think part of the idea was also just to check with the group to see if, like sometimes we've not met in August, and to see if people want to have a meeting in August or not. I thought that was part of the idea. And we could, so we could meet in August. But why don't we see what people think?
Sure, but I think we should do that via email, because I think like today's participation, just you, me, Ishmael, Michael, we've had a lot of folks leave the meeting right now. So maybe what we could do,
Yeah,
we could send out an email. But do you have any recommendation? Do you have like an idea? What are your thoughts?
I'm not sure what you're thinking of for Sunday in the Park. I don't know if this group needs to meet for Sunday in the Park. Like, there's many members of this group that are participating in the Sunday in the Park planning, and they, we do meet regularly. So maybe that could be the place. Like, I don't know if we'd make any decisions here on Sunday in the Park. So I'd suggest if we are going to meet, it would be for another reason.
Okay, I agree. And maybe what we could do is determine if there's enough agenda items for August at a co-chairs meeting, and move forward with that. So if you do need to have a meeting, we will. But in the past, has the tradition been to take a break in the month of August?
I mean, I think it sounds like I was away last year, but I think you guys met because you had something to meet about. But I think the year before that, I don't believe we met in August.
Sounds good. So why don't we play it by ear and see if there's a need, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, folks. And for September, I'm assuming we're going to meet on September 12th, right? If needed. But I think if we are going to take a break in the month of August, we'll have enough agenda items to meet in the fall. Okay? Okay, folks, our meeting is done.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. And for more information, please visit our website.